Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a requested video between Amy Klobuchar, the United States Senator from Minnesota. She just won re-election in the state of Minnesota. And then we're also going to be doing it between Mike Pence, who is from the state of Indiana. I believe the former governor of Indiana, but don't quote me on that. So let's just go down and move it into safe and toss-up, so it's easier when we're filling in the safe states. Now, a few things to note before we get started. This is a requested video. Someone requested me to do this video, so yeah, that's I guess why I'm doing it. Please comment down your suggestions. But yeah, so let's start off with going through the safe states. Of course, Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, all safe for the Democrats. New Mexico, Minnesota. Normally I would not put this in the safe column. However, Amy Klobuchar just won her re-election in her home state by 25 points or something like that. So I would put that in the safe column. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, the District of Columbia. These are all safe states for the Democratic Party. Now, in addition, we have Vermont and New York, which are also very safe for the Democrats. So all of these states, 197 electoral votes, safe for the Democrats. Now let's go over the safe Republican states. We have Alaska, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. Actually, Texas I'll come back to. Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia. Nebraska, I would move most of those into the GOP column. I'll come back about that second congressional district. I'm really sorry, some people are talking over there, but I'll just try and, I guess, outdo them. Sorry about that. There we go. Another safe state, the first district in the state of Maine, I would now put into the safe column for the Democrats. So those are all the safe states. Now let's move into the likely, leaning, and toss-up states. So let's kind of go. Let's start off in. I'm really sorry. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just had to go and talk just then. But anyway, I was talking about just now. We're going to be going into the safe, likely, leaning, and toss-up states, mostly likely, leaning, and toss-up states. But yeah, we're going to go, first of all, we're going to start out in the west, then we're going to go over into the kind of southeast portion. I'm including Texas. We'll go like Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, Texas, and then up across the south, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia. Then we're going to go into the north, meaning Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Maine, and then we're going to wrap things up by looking at the Rust Belt and the 2nd District of Nebraska. Actually, I'm going to start with the 2nd District of Nebraska. This is a district that, with the right kind of Democratic candidate, you can win, but it is a red district. They just re-elected a Republican in the 2018 midterms, but quite close against a progressive challenger, being Kara Eastman. Hillary Clinton came close to winning it. Barack Obama carried it in 2008. I don't think he carried it in 2012, though. But at the end of the day, with a hardcore conservative like Mike Pence, I'm going to move this into the leaning Republican column. I think it'll be about 4 to 5%, for Mike Pence. Now we're going to go over Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, and Texas. So let's start out in the state of Nevada. I feel comfortable putting this in the leaning Democratic column because the trends in the state have been clear that they are going towards the Democrats in a Democratic direction. They just took the governorship in Nevada, the Senate race in Nevada. They took both of those highly competitive races in the state of Nevada. They were able to win both of those by about 4 to 5 points. 4 for the governor's mansion and 5 for the Senate race. So again, I would give a slight lean over towards Amy Klobuchar in the state of Minnesota. Now, in the state of Arizona, For a Democrat to win in Arizona, they need to be one that can appeal to the Hispanic and Latino populations. I don't believe that Amy Klobuchar could really be able to do that. Mike Pence, Mike Pence, I think would be able to appeal to the Republican base in the state of Arizona, and I'm going to put it into his column. State of Colorado, not really a swing state anymore. I think that Amy Klobuchar could get herself over the line, even though she doesn't have a great showing with the minority populations in the state of Colorado. I still think this will go in the leaning to likely Democratic column. I'll put it in the leaning column. Most other Democrats, it would be a likely column, but for Amy Klobuchar, I don't think she can appeal as well to the Hispanic voters, so I'm putting it into the leaning Democratic column. You could make a case for the likely Democratic column. They just elected their first openly gay governor in Jared Polis in the state of Colorado by 9 or 10 points, I believe. So yeah, that you could make a decent case for it to be likely Democratic. I'm putting it in the leaning Democratic column. State of Texas, here we go. Beto O'Rourke was able to close a huge gap in the Texas Senate race, but it takes a phenomenal candidate like O'Rourke to even make the race within about 5 points. I'm moving this into the likely GOP column. There we go. I also think Mike Pence can better appeal to the Texas voters. He's more conservative. Well, not really more conservative, but he can appeal to the conservative base better. Some conservatives are pissed off at Trump for using his language that he uses. So I think even though Mike Pence would still kind of carry Trump's name, I think that he can put it in the likely Republican column. Now, in the state of Florida, there's a lot of discussion about whether this is a swing state. Because they just took the governor's mansion. They were not meant to do that. They flipped the Senate race, which they were not meant to do that. The only kind of bright spot for Democrats is they flipped the 26th district or the 25th. Carlos Cuervo's seat. I'm pretty sure it's the 26th. Not exactly sure. But yeah, they flipped Cuervo's seat. But he was in a very Democratic district. And with Trump's baggage in the state of Florida, that's kind of what put the Democrat on top. But overall, great showing for the GOP in the state of Florida. They took the governor's race, the Senate race, even though it was very tight in both of those. But how this relates to 2020, right? At the moment, I'm going to give a slight lean over towards Mike Pence and the Republicans just because I think that they can get the retiring population to really come out and vote. You can make a very good case that, now former felons can vote in the state of Florida, but I don't really think that they'll be coming out in huge numbers for someone like an Amy Klobuchar. She really performs quite well in the Rust Belt, not really down in the South. That's why you see states like Arizona, Texas, Florida going to the Republicans, and Colorado going by a smaller amount than it really should be. Now, let's take a look at the state of Georgia. Stacey Abrams, just like O'Rourke, cutting it close in a deep red state. Texas, much more of a Republican state than Georgia, but still it is quite impressive that both of these candidates can turn these Republican states very competitive. However, I think that someone like an Amy Klobuchar really can't get the African American base excited. That's the same argument with North Carolina. Both of these states have conservative bases. In order to win, you need to get African Americans out to vote. I don't think Amy Klobuchar can do that, and I'm putting both of these states into the leaning Republican column. Now, in the state of Virginia, there's a lot of debate whether Virginia is actually a swing state, and I would argue, well, it kind of depends on the Democratic candidate. For a normal Democrat, that being in the kind of the top tier range of Democratic candidates, of those who are most likely to win against Trump, Richard Ojeda, Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, I would even say Joe Biden, that Virginia would not be a swing state. I also think for the Democrats, having Mark Warner. He is a popular senator from Virginia. He's up in 2020, likely to win re-election, unless he decides to retire. I think that could have a positive trickle-down effect. I'm going to put this in the likely Democratic column given all those factors. So all of this is kind of more favorable towards the Republicans. In this set, the Democrats won 3 states, the Republicans won about 5 states, but as we go further north, it gets much less friendly towards the Republicans. And that all starts in the state of Maine at-large district, and I think that this can be put in the likely Democratic column, given Hillary Clinton, she was still able to win Maine at-large, and that's something also to note. But in the 2nd district, I see that one going towards Mike Pence. He's really the kind, even though the 2nd district did vote for the Democrat Jared Golden, they do have a history of voting Democratic, but I think that Trump and Pence have something in the district that's really good for the district, and they really like Trump and Pence. They voted for Trump by about 10 points. I'm putting that in the Republican column. State of New Hampshire, that's kind of a leaning Democratic state at this point in time. You could make an argument for it to be a likely Democratic state or a pure toss-up state, but at the moment, I think that Amy Klobuchar could win in the state of New Hampshire, especially if she wins the primary there, but that's not really relevant. So, final state in the Northeast, and also kind of in the Rust Belt as well, it's actually in the Rust Belt and in the Northeast, is the state of Pennsylvania. And this is a very hotly contested race, but I'm leaning towards giving this over to Amy Klobuchar for a variety of reasons. Number 1, Democrats won easily cakewalk into the governorship in the state and the Senate race in the state. And both of these, yes, they were popular incumbents, but Barack Obama in the state of Pennsylvania was kind of popular, so it's interesting how Hillary Clinton didn't carry the state. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2, Amy Klobuchar is kind of from the area. She's from the Rust Belt. Pennsylvania's in the Rust Belt. She can appeal to Rust Belt voters, and she would definitely be able to win in a state like Pennsylvania. I see her winning this by 4 to 5 points. Next up is, so we finished talking about the Southwest, the Southeast, the North, and now we're in the Rust Belt. We have 4 states left to call. These will decide the presidency, right? So we have 252 votes for Amy Klobuchar, 236 for the Vice President of the United States. This is getting very, very contested very quickly. Now let's go over to the state of Ohio. It looks like Ohio may not be a swing state. Let me list what happened in the 2018 results. Republicans won the governorship in Ohio. They were not meant to win the governorship. They won both competitive House races in the state of Ohio. Both of these were pretty much 50-50 toss-ups, and they won both of them. The only bright spot for Democrats in Ohio is Sherrod Brown, which he is a very popular incumbent who won the Senate race really not by as much as he was meant to. So you could make a strong case that Ohio is not really a swing state anymore. In addition, Trump carried the state by about 9 points. And yes, Amy Klobuchar, she is from the area. However, I think that Mike Pence can put himself just over the top in the state of Ohio. So the final 3 states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Iowa, will decide the next president of the United States. Amy Klobuchar behind narrowly at 252 electoral votes, Mike Pence at 254. But since all of these states have quite high electoral votes with the exception of the state of Iowa, anything can change, and Amy Klobuchar is not out of the game just yet. Let's go over to the state of Iowa. I really want to talk about this one. There is a very, very strong case that Amy Klobuchar can appeal to rural voters. Iowa is underneath the state of Minnesota. However, I can't really see her pulling it off because Trump won the state, yes. However, the Republicans won the governor's mansion in the state of Iowa the Democrat was slightly favored in the state of Iowa in taking the governor's mansion. Fred Hubbell already conceded. Now, both Democrats won in their competitive House races, but they were slightly favored to go to the Democrats anyway. So I think that it's going to be a very tight race. But I see Mike Pence winning extraordinarily close, closer than Ohio, closer than North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, Maine 2nd District, Nebraska 2nd District, closer than even states like New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Colorado, all the states that I have listed. Now, 2 states will decide the presidency. In order for Mike Pence to win, he needs to win either Wisconsin or Michigan. Amy Klobuchar must win them both. So, let's see what's going to happen. Right, now let's go over into the state of Wisconsin. It has 10 electoral votes, right? And if Mike Pence wins this, he will be the next president of the United States, right? So, but Trump has nosedived in the state of Wisconsin. Democrats, they picked up the governorship, right? Now, that's kind of the only competitive one that we saw. You could make a case Republicans are rebounding since they only lost that governorship by 1 or 2 points, and they also won handedly a district that was kind of a toss-up, so you could make a case. However, the state of Wisconsin is becoming much more democratic, and being able to appeal to those white working class voters is something you need in Wisconsin. They care about people like Amy Klobuchar, and for that reason, I'm moving it into the leaning Democratic column. Michigan now will decide the presidency. If Mike Pence wins the state of Michigan, he will be the next president, and then if Amy Klobuchar wins, she will be the next president, and I believe that Michigan will go Democratic for the exact same reasons that Wisconsin went Democratic and Pennsylvania went Democratic. She can appeal to the white working class voters in the state of Michigan, and I see Michigan and Wisconsin both going Democratic by about 3 to 5 points, Pennsylvania by about 4 to 5 points, so I do believe if Amy Klobuchar were to run and win the nomination against Mike Pence, I believe this would be the map. Thank you for watching this video. I'll be coming out with another video right after this. Stay tuned.